Okay, hello and thank you for joining us. Today we're going to be talking about ECM and cloud. Joining me today are Wally Bitaut, Director of Software as a Service for Pyramid Solutions, and David Caldeira, the Director of Products and Strategy for ECM at IBM. And I'm Noah Cutler. I'm a Market Segment Manager for ECM at IBM. So let's start. Wally, I guess I'll start with you first. Back when I was in Tivoli, we were seeing a lot of client deployments and movement to the cloud. But I wanted to get your perspective as to where CIOs are seeing the benefits of moving to the cloud and what some of their challenges are.
Okay, yes, what I've been finding is that forward-thinking CIOs are really refocusing their people, their budgets towards the business. And really it's the business versus the infrastructure. And when I say business, it's really relative to process improvements, as an example, which affects the bottom line revenues. And they're able to start thinking that way because of the benefits that cloud brings. Cloud is able to really offset, the hardware acquisitions, that infrastructure, hardware refresh, support, maintenance, the internal, FTE or resources assigned to the infrastructure, and the training. And although cloud makes a lot of sense and provides a lot of offsets, there are some challenges to get there. And what I'd like to refer those challenges more to the comfort level. It's really a CIO becoming comfortable with things like security. Obviously we have assets that must be secured. The solution must be scalable so that as I add customers or users and departments, the solution can scale accordingly. I need to make sure that uptime is always available to my business users. There's things like business continuity and disaster recovery. These are all the things that typically a CIO has to worry about. But with cloud, it becomes terms in a service level agreement.
And now, David, taking what Wally had said, when we talk about cloud, we're really talking broader. We're really talking software as a service. And specific to ECM, what are some of the benefits that you're seeing that ECM customers are getting out of these software as a service solutions?
Well, Wally articulated some of the key economic benefits, the ability to have access and provision that underlying infrastructure in a cost-effective way. But just as importantly, I think from an ECM perspective, it's about getting to that return on investment or getting to that value in an accelerated manner. I often like to say, time to value. And through software as a service, we're able to significantly impact that, significantly get the end users up and running faster, to avoid the time that it takes to implement the underlying infrastructure, as Wally talked about, and have the users interacting with the system very quickly. Now, that's important not only for just the time element, but it's the responsiveness to the market situation. There's an opportunity or a threat that needs to be addressed. You cannot wait 9 months to take advantage of that opportunity or respond to that threat. You need to do it immediately, and that's the key. Now, to complement that, from an ECM perspective, we also need to make sure that we're creating engaging experiences for those end users. So we're getting that solution to them rapidly, but we're doing it in a way that is in the context of the business function that they're responsible for, and doing it in an engaging way. And that leads to some other very important attributes in terms of fitting into their business process, integrating to the rest of their systems. So there are a number of other key requirements that we need to address in this environment. But I think the benefit, to summarize, is that speed to market, which is very critical, and a SaaS-based solution can deliver on that.
And that's great, David. And Wally, so from that, how are organizations addressing the business aspects of deploying these type of applications in the cloud?
Yeah, and Noah, that really is determined by the starting point, right? I mean, are we starting with infrastructure as a service, which is really, hardware laid down for me? Are we starting as platform as a service, which is the hardware plus a platform like IBM Case Manager? Or is it software as a service, or SaaS, which is the prior two plus a complete application? And depending on where we start on that value chain determines how much effort it is to get to my time to value, because I need to perform things like design and development and or configuration, testing, training, and then deployment, and usually that's a repeat. And what I'm seeing is that select vendors are providing, in many cases, platform as a service, and I need to then lean on my internal IT department or third-party vendors to take me through that design through deployment process. Now, I'm also starting to see some niche vendors begin to move that needle, and we're starting to move a little bit from platform as a service towards software as a service, where we're improving the configurability capabilities by the customer, and we're improving that time to value. Ultimately, what customers are looking for are software solutions, software as a service where I can completely subscribe and use, and I have ownership, meaning I can make changes as my business changes. And we're looking for really a myriad of solutions that you'll find, really on the middle tier companies who have, very constrained IT budgets, where it's not just your lifeblood applications like, claims processing, loan origination, to name a few, but it's also some of the back office types of activities like customer or HR onboarding, expense management, accounts payable. All of those departments have real pain points that need to be addressed. And so, again, really, customers are really vying for a complete software as a service, subscribe and use, ownership where I can make changes as the customer. But really today, those solutions, particularly around Case Manager, have been non-existent until really today with our offering.
And so, Wally, what you're saying, and David, maybe you could speak to this, is they want almost the best of both worlds. That they want the flexibility that they have currently, but they want that service, payable as a software as a service. But David, what are some of the challenges that you see them having to get this?
Well, I think you made a good point in terms of wanting best of both worlds, and it's critical for us to really understand the customer's requirements and what they're trying to achieve. Wally mentioned a couple of business problems that might be addressed through a basic commodity type solution, and it's all about cost, it's all about speed, and if you're managing sales leads, or you're handling expense reports, or some other back office function that it doesn't really differentiate you or create competitive advantage in the market, you want to use an inexpensive commodity type solution delivered as a utility through SaaS, and have that as a backbone for your business efficiently. When you get into some mission critical business problems, solutions that run your core business, Wally mentioned a few in the ECM space, where content is an essential information asset as part of decision making. It's used to help differentiate the customer in the market. I think of problems like customer onboarding, where customers want to get engaged with a business very quickly, very efficiently, provide just the right information to get their account set up. And if I create an environment in which I can easily do business with a company, I have a competitive advantage. So offering a solution that can impact that particular example, and we could draw on others, requires potentially a sophisticated solution. You need to integrate to other systems, for example. They may be behind the customer's firewall, and providing flexible ways to perform that integration is critical. the customer's information may be a concern. I think Wally alluded to that. What is the security? What are the information handling techniques that we're using? I've seen many customers who want to retain that information, again, behind their firewall. So providing a hybrid solution that combines the information and systems you're integrating with that are under the protection of the enterprise, but delivering that end-user experience and software application out through a cloud infrastructure is important. So to get there, from an ECM perspective, we're looking at a broad set of options for customers. Certainly public cloud SaaS-based solutions, such as what Pyramid is delivering, very powerful, and those point solutions to have that configurability and rapidly deploy those solutions. But perhaps the customer needs to think about a hosted private cloud scenario. IBM Smart Cloud Enterprise, to support those very high-end, robust, critical solutions for customers in a private cloud that they can trust and scale and be assured of the performance and response times and uptime that we talked about earlier. We're also seeing customers consider options such as IBM Pure Systems for true enterprise private cloud implementations. So the company or our customers taking on that the full responsibility for the cloud infrastructure, for getting some of the benefits of the cost and economics of the infrastructure. And the last point I'll make is that we're very excited about working with the SoftLayer technology, a recent acquisition by IBM, to extend those infrastructure as a service options for those customers that have needs across this spectrum. So it's an exciting, important area of our business. From an ECM perspective, we need to consider the full range. And we're leading with software as a service with partners such as Pyramid, and focusing on that end customer while at the same time making sure that we can address the needs of integration, of protection of the information, and some of these other concerns that we've talked about.
And so, we've just scratched the surface of the things that we can talk about with cloud, and of course we have IOD coming up. So I would ask Wally, if customers wanted to know more about what Pyramid is doing, where can they find you, both on the web and at IOD?
Yeah, we'll be a gold sponsor at IOD, and you can find us on the expo floor in booth 824G. We're also in a number of breakout sessions, so look for us there. ECM Central, which is, I believe, Tuesday afternoon, will be presenting, and then obviously PyramidSolutions.com, as well as Case4Solutions.com as well. So we look forward to seeing you out at IOD.
So PyramidSolutions.com, Case4Solutions, and on the expo floor and in a bunch of sessions. David, where can people find you at IOD and online?
Well, I'll be all over the conference. We do have some sessions presenting the case management strategy in a breakout session on Tuesday afternoon, session 2121. So I will be speaking there. You will also hear about the case management strategy and our cloud strategy and the ECM keynotes that happen Monday afternoon. So look for this topic in that session. And I'll also be tweeting during before and during the conference. So you can find me on Twitter at Dave_Caldeira. So lots of opportunities, and I will also be on the exhibit floor, talking with partners such as Pyramid and others who are showcasing our case solutions and the way we're going to market through cloud-based offerings on the show floor.
Thanks. And I'll also be on the show floor at the Expo Center. We have a very nice booth for ECM. I'm on Twitter at NoahGK, and we'll be using the hashtag IBMECM if you want to follow what we're talking about for ECM just in general, and also at IOD. So, Wally, I want to thank you, and David, I want to thank you for your time. And to customers, we hope to see you at IOD and on Twitter, hashtag IBMECM.